Yo, what is going on, everyone? We already got donations in the chat. I don't even know how to handle myself yet. Haven't even had the opportunity to take my sip of coffee or to say hello, but I'll get to you in 1 second. Philly fans in South Dakota, what's up, everyone? Welcome in to Coffee with Brodes. It's Tuesday morning. Last night we had a little Sixers-Phillies action. The Phillies find a way to win. It got a little dicey at the end, but Zach Wheeler was dominant. Hector Neris came in and things got a little scary. I don't know what Alec Boehm was doing out in foul territory. I don't know what Odubel Herrera was doing out in center field with that last second catch. It made me very nervous. I think the caller on the Anytime hotline from yesterday said it best. It's not Hector the protector. It's Hector the heart attack. And that's exactly what you have when Hector Neris is on the bump. But they finished the job. And with the Sixers, look, they finished the job too. I guess my problem is I'm just not having fun watching them play anymore. Really, I'm just not. They're at a point where their games have just been so boring. It's been such a snooze fest. Whether it's their fault or it's not their fault. When you look at it realistically, it's because players aren't available. It's because guys are injured. It's because the other team stinks. I'm not saying it's all because of the Sixers, but since the Brooklyn Nets game, it has not been fun. It's just not been fun at all. So it's just been a little bit of like a weird stretch of Sixers basketball that's not entertaining. The last time anything was fun, well, it was that Nets game. So Wednesday, April 14th was when this stretch kind of started for me. And now it was what was yesterday? The 28th. So from the 14th to the 28th, almost 2 week span of just eh, eh. So before we kick things off here, cheers. Cheers, everyone, for hanging out on another day of Coffee with Brodes. The love and support has been amazing. Without you, this can't be true. So cheers, everyone. Enjoy your cup of coffee. We got a fat cup. I filled this motherfucker to the brim. I wish I could show you, but I'd spill it. I filled this motherfucker to the brim. Yeah. Wawa hazelnut, as always. Burned the shit out of my mouth. That's a good cup of coffee. All right, here we go. Let's kick it off, and we will start with the $2 donation. Let's talk Reese the Beast. Yeah, Reese the Beast was amazing. He is tearing it up. And this is the best Reese Hoskins we have seen since his rookie season. When he came onto the scene and he was driving the baseball, and it was a beautiful watch, and he was cruising. This is as good as it got. This is what that was like. He is tearing the cover off the ball. This is amazing. And it's crazy to me that you're going to throw the pitches that you're throwing to Reese. Maybe this is a wake-up call. Maybe people are going to realize around the league, well, hold on a second. All right, what was Wainwright doing? The guy was pitching a gem, but he's throwing these hanging pitches up in the top of the part of the plate for Reese Hoskins to crush some moonshots here. You can't do it. You might have gotten away with some of these pitches in the past with Reese Hoskins, and I guess that's what I'm bringing up. Maybe you were able to get by with this stuff before. Now Reese is waking up. Hello? Do you not see Reese Hoskins destroying the baseball? It's crazy. It's crazy. Reese is on fire, man, and I'm afraid to move around the lineup only because I want to. I think it's time. You got to do something new. I'm getting bored of what you're doing right now, and I think this team needs a little spark. This team needs a little rise. And I think if you were able to change the lineup up, that would do that. But here's JT Realmuto coming off of 3 hits. Here's Bryce Harper that has been very successful at the plate as of late. Here's Reese Hoskins that's home run after home run after home run. So at what point here do you realize this is kind of working in that area? Why tweak anything? Why toy with anything? At the same time, I'm just sick and tired of it, man. I'm sick and tired of it. I think it needs a fresh start. It needs some sort of spark to get this team going a bit because they haven't been. And this offense again yesterday, I mean, the reason why you win is because of 2 solo home runs, because of 2 mistakes by Wayne, right? That you cash in on, and good teams cash in. Good teams find a way. Your offense stunk, though, for 99% of the game, and Adam Wainwright is not Adam Wainwright of his prime. That's clear. Where are we here? Listen, I know you're not a big Ben Simmons guy. Yes, I am. I'm a huge Ben Simmons guy. Huge. That's where the narrative is wrong. Because I'm holding him accountable, it's almost as if I don't like him anymore. I love Ben Simmons. I'm a huge fan of Ben Simmons. All season, him and Matisse have got me fired up. Oh, I'm with you. I agree with you. I love those perimeter blocks out by the corner. How many times have we seen that where the closing speed and the defending speed to recover the way that they do? Yeah, not many people can do that, if any people can do that the way that he does, the way that Matisse Thybulle does. And that's what makes them a special tandem. That's what makes them so unique and so special out on the floor. I love Ben Simmons. And that's the problem, because I get mad. It's almost like when people get mad at their kids. They still love their kids. They love their kids. But there's a reason why, because they care. They care about their kids. They want them to do the right thing. They want them to grow up the right way. So you have expectations set for them. And when they mess up, you make sure you hold them accountable. Why is it unfair for me to hold Ben Simmons accountable? It is funny, though, how, and I'm not going to change my opinion because of this. I feel the way that I feel, and I'm going to discuss it the way that I want to discuss it. But there is this Ben Simmons fan group. There is this Ben Simmons support team that is not a fan of what I've been saying about Ben Simmons specifically. But I just keep it real, man. I just keep it real. How would you feel if the Phillies went with Odubel leading off? I just don't think right now is the time. You know, he's kind of getting thrown into the fire here, and he hasn't played MLB baseball in a while. And I thought that he would be all right, emotions wise. I think he was a little bit shaky. I think he was a little bit nervous. I think he knew what the situation was. I think he read the room properly and knew what type of pressure was on him to succeed. And I thought he was a little bit shaky, to be honest with you, with some plays out in the field and obviously at the dish, his first at bat of the game. It was a 3-pitch strikeout. So, I don't think right now is the time to just throw Odubel Herrera in there. I hate when people say you're a fake fan when you complain about your team not playing well. Well, it's the complete opposite, no? It's the complete opposite to say that. If you are complaining about the team not playing well, it's because you care. You're not going to complain if you don't care. The problem is, though, here's the difference. When they go 0-4, when they don't have Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons in the last game, where they're missing Ben Simmons for the other 3 games, it's more circumstantial. So there's a difference. When they're not playing well, but they don't have their players, obviously they're not going to play well. That's different than them just playing poorly when they have everybody available. When you're missing Joel and Ben, and then you get blown out by 38 points, you're missing Joel and Ben Simmons, right? Like, you don't have Joel Embiid and Ben to bitch and complain after that loss. It's like, what did you expect to happen? Let me ask you a serious question. What did you expect to happen on that night in that game? That's where I think it's a little unrealistic, right? It's different, though, when, your team's available and they're not playing as strong as they should. And that's when they look a little bit off. That's different. I mean, I didn't hate how Odubel played. No, I didn't hate how he played. I'm really basing that emotional thing off of the last play, though. I think Odubel of 2 years ago isn't getting shaky on that last catch out in center field, and I think he's putting a lot of stress on himself to make sure that he does something off the bat, no pun intended, when it comes to his offensive skill set, because he probably knows the leash isn't very long. And he probably knows that he's going to have to deliver. Now, hitting over 101, which was the combination of Mickey Moniak and the center field position as a whole, well, I think he can do that, right? I promise you he can do that. I'd imagine. I'd imagine. Brodes, I have faith that the Phillies will wreck the Cards. Martinez tonight. Yeah, that's big for sure. Will wreck. Okay, Martinez tonight, like they did in Philly. Martinez is 0-4, bad this year. I said this from the beginning. I said this before we entered St. Louis. You have a chance, the way that the pitching matchup is set up, to win this series. Go do it. Go do it. Take advantage of that. Now, I've seen this team not to this point. I've seen this team not be their best when it comes to having a good matchup involved. So, You're off to a great start with the way Zach Wheeler pitched. That's for damn sure. He was electric, man. You're talking about sliders coming in on the inside corner. Good luck. You see 99 Pepper in the outside part of the paint. He was painting outside part of the plate, I should say. He was painting the corners, and it was special. I mean, what you saw out of Zach Wheeler, that was special. Couldn't be touched. You have a really good setup here to get yourself in a good position. The only spot I don't love is when Matt Moore is on the bump. I think he's on the bump for game 3 off the top of my head. So you got Eflin. You got your starters available. The only one that's a little bit shaky is Matt Moore. But even entering this series, when you look at the pitch-up matchups on paper, and yes, that only means so much, but if you do see it, it's advantage Phillies. But you gotta start peppering as well. How about this? Leading off with Maton, Reese, Bryce, JT, Didi, Bohm, Kutch. What's Odubel. I'm like, who the hell is Doobie? It's been so long since he's been on the field. I'm like, who the hell is Doobie? Kutch, 8, and Eflin. Is Maton ready for leading off? I don't know. I just feel like, is there a point where we just pretend like this guy is magic? And we just depend. And look, this guy has made the most of his playing time, and he's made sure that he made a name for himself. I guess I'm willing to try anything. I would just have a quick trigger on it if it doesn't work. But isn't the middle of the lineup too much the same? Like, I think what I want to do is I kind of want to change Reese, Bryce, JT, Didi. I want to change 2, 3, 4. I think the middle of the lineup is, even though they're raking individually at times, I don't think you're getting enough power and enough just juice. You're not power in terms of hitting the home run ball. Reese and Bryce Harper are doing that. I'm just talking about sexiness, the sex appeal, the damage that can be done. I think there's more left in the tank out of this middle of the lineup, out of this entire lineup, 1 through 8, and something needs to give. Something needs to happen. I think Bryce can rake at 3 and at 4 and at 2 and at 1. I mean, I know he can. It's not I think. I know he can. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. I tried a billion times in my brain to try and think of something that would be beneficial. And speaking of Alec Bohm, by the way, Alec Bohm is struggling, having a bit of a sophomore slump. Not that this is outrageous, not that this is uncommon. It's very uncommon. But I wrote this down yesterday. I don't think I even brought it up. Sometimes I overlook some of my notes, which pisses me off. And when the post-game show's over, I go back and I'm like, God damn it, I missed such a good point. Alec Bohm is hitting 205. So we're in the territory of hitting less than 200. Now, we saw Alec Bohm last year really smash it for 300 plus. He was a murderer of the baseball. This year, not so much. And you're really getting this 205 type of damage. You need more, man. You need way more out of Alec Bohm, I don't know. 250, 260 is a serious jump. I mean, he got robbed maybe like 3 times off the top of my head. So to say 205 and now we're talking 260, I think you're going a little bit to the extreme here. You got to be able to get the ball through. You know who else gets robbed a lot due to the shift? Bryce Harper. If there was no shift, Bryce Harper would be hitting 500. But sometimes there's going to be things that limit you, and there's going to be things that stop you, and there's going to be all sorts of factors into why you're not hitting as good as you theoretically should be. Here's what I know. He's hitting 205. We need a new closer. Hector Neris blows. He doesn't. That's the thing. Hector Neris doesn't blow. He's just not the best closer. All right. He's your average major league closer. That's what he is. You have an average guy. You don't have a great guy. You don't have an amazing guy. You don't have a guy who sucks like you think. You just have an average closer. You have the average guy in your closer position. When you look at all the other holes, though, I think that all the other holes, and you're talking about a totally different team. Like we went through this before, right? Center field. So you had Roman Quinn, Adam Hazley, Roman Quinn, Mickey Moniak as all major problems. Matt Moore and Chase Anderson, problems. Defensively as an entire team, problems. Offense, problems. Hector Neris in the bullpen, problem. I think that's maybe Hector Neris on my list might be maybe. I'm trying to order those in my head. I guess that was more just me spitballing, but somewhat in order at the same time. Is Hector Neris, where does he fall on that list? I mean, it's an important role. Don't get me wrong. You can't be having a ton of blown saves, but I also think that he gets more blame than he should get blame. That's for sure. $2 coming in from Giroux. Drinking coffee while watching Coffee with Brodes. Hey, that is the point, my friend. Thank you very much, Drew. And speaking of Drew, how about that 2 goals at the end of regulation the other day against the New Jersey Devils? You saw a big smile on his face. You saw a big smile on his face. Ain't that the truth? Yeah, man, there's nothing better than drinking my coffee with you guys and just kind of shooting the shit in the morning. I love Coffee with Brodes. I've stressed this before. I literally love sitting here having my cup of coffee with you guys. Coffee with Brodes is probably one of the best ideas I've had in my life. I guess the first best was starting sports talk with Brodes. Second best, Coffee with Brodes. I thought Arenado hit a home run. Well, here's the thing. And speaking of Hector Neris blowing or not blowing, that pitch should have been crushed. That pitch was more of, whew, thank the Lord, I made a mistake. Like if I'm Hector Neris, I look myself in the mirror and I go, I made a huge mistake tonight. That could have been a bomb. That could have been the game. That could have been a walk-off. You got lucky. You escaped. Nolan Arenado just missed the pitch because that was set up where you were in trouble. You were in trouble. I think everybody thought that was a bomb off the bat because of the placement of the pitch with Hector Neris for sure. Ben Simmons' defense was outstanding. Yes, but the OKC Thunder actually blow. You talk about the process Sixers, you can also talk about the OKC Thunder. So you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But to acknowledge what was out there on the other side last night, and I've seen Ben Simmons match up one-on-one against Giannis, so I know what he can do, and I haven't seen anything like that in my entire life. What he did to Giannis when they played earlier in the season, it was amazing. I know it's in there. I'm just saying specifically last night, I can't get all rah-rah about beating this OKC Thunder team. That team, you want to talk about blows, okay? You want to talk about blows. It's that OKC Thunder team. They blow. We got Christian with a $5 donation, all right? How about, oh, come on. I saw, how about this new lineup, and I got excited that maybe you were going to throw something my way that would be very beneficial. And then I see Quinn as the name next to it, and now I see this. Oh, my God. Talk about a lineup. Really? Roman Quinn, Cody Ashley. We're getting Tommy Joseph in the mix, Mike Alfranco, Aaron Altair. You know what's funny? The Aaron Altair thing. The reason why we held on to Aaron Altair for so long, and I'm someone that loves analytics, right? The exit velo. I think exit velo is something that you can utilize. Like the fact that it means nothing to some is laughable. It's clear what it means. You're hitting the ball hard. And it's not hard to figure out that if you're hitting the ball hard, you have a better opportunity of getting on base than when you don't hit the ball hard, right? That's all it's saying. That's not saying that just because you hit the ball hard, you're on base every time. But it means, look, if you traditionally find a way to square up the baseball, it shows you the percentage of you squaring up a ball more so than not. So there's reasons for it, and it's not that hard to comprehend. And it might sound a little hypocritical here, but sometimes there's a line. And you know where I stand. You can go over the line. With Aaron Altair, I think the exit velo, you went over the line. Aaron Altair, well, look at his exit velo. He's going to be just fine. Well, at some point, though, you're right. You're right. There is a time where you are right, where it's give them the benefit of the doubt. Their exit velo, you're expecting the numbers to somewhat come full circle, come back around, and then you kind of figure it out. With Aaron Altair, though, it never worked. And at some point, you realize, all right, maybe this is what it is, but you kept trying to drill it. You kept trying to force it. At some point, it's just not there, right? Remember Brown. I think everybody remembers Brown. That was one of the most historic busts in the history of Major League Baseball. So, yeah, of course I remember Brown. Everybody remembers Browner. What was, who are we talking about again? Aaron Altair. I think when Korean baseball was a thing, I think he was playing Korean baseball. Yeah, he was. Is he still playing right now? April 27th, he played a game. He had 2 hits with 1 strikeout. He's hitting .351. He's playing for, where's he playing? He's a American, he's a German-American professional baseball outfielder for the Dinos of the Korean Baseball League. How about that? Let's look at his statistics. I got the hiccups. Aaron Altair. He had a season of 241 when he first got caught up. Very limited action. 197 the following year. 272 in 2017 with 19 homers. Jesus Christ. I don't really even remember him hitting the bat that well. Swinging the bat that well, I should say. He had 19 dingers, 65 RBIs, 272 in 2017, followed up by 181. And that's your problem. The 272 with the 19 homers is your outlier. And it reminds me a little bit of Scott Kingery. Because when you go back to 2019, now he wasn't even hitting that high in terms of percentage, but Scott Kingery was hitting 258 with 19 homers, and that's the outlier compared to the rest. So are we seeing an Aaron Altair type of stat line when it comes to Scott Kingery? DH says, the Phillies are so hard to watch, I don't even enjoy watching the wins. Really? Last night you didn't enjoy watching? I thought last night was fun. I mean, if you're not a fan of pitching, maybe you won't enjoy that type of game. I thought that game was, it's a pitching duel, right? So you got to appreciate the pitching duel a little differently than the way that you watch maybe a 6-5 win, a 7-5 win. It's totally different for sure. But I thought last night's game was fun. It had some intriguing moments towards the end. Maybe not the ones that are extremely fun from a Phillies fan, but afterwards, like entertainment baseball-wise, Alec Boehm is diving because he misplays a ball, but he makes up for it and recovers. You have Odubel Herrera. You got Nolan Arenado. You got Zach Wheeler going in there and walking Matt Carpenter for their first base runner in the 9th inning. There were a lot of stuff that happened late that made this a little bit more entertaining. I thought it was a fun game, I thought it was a pretty fun game. Just seems like since I've watched you, there's been a lot of underwhelming guys. Since you watched me, there's been some underwhelming guys. Who's underwhelming, Daniel? Who's underwhelming to you? Are you talking Andrew McCutchen? Because I think that's obvious. If I remember correctly, aren't you a Boston fan? I could be wrong, though. For some reason, I labeled you Red Sox Celtics. And if I'm wrong, I really, really, really apologize because that's a spit in the face. That's really embarrassing if I messed that up. But for some reason, I associate you with Boston sports. So I hope I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. Didn't realize Wainwright, how nasty. I think a lot of yesterday, though, is both teams struggling. And I want to say the same, too, for Zach Wheeler. When you look at Zach Wheeler, I love Zach Wheeler, and he was awesome. But this Cardinals team's 11-11, and they're really struggling to find themselves, and they're really trying to figure out who they are. They're learning their identity. This Phillies team is trying to figure out who they are, and they're trying to learn their identity. So that's where I think it's, look, I'm not trying to downplay Zach Wheeler. He was awesome. And I'm not trying to downplay Adam Wainwright, but I think a lot of that really is just a product of how much these offenses are struggling a bit more. And I hate that because it's almost like saying the pitching wasn't good. The pitching was very good. The pitching was awesome. Wainwright makes 2 mistakes. The difference is his 2 mistakes are over the fence. Zach Wheeler's mistakes, walking a batter and putting him on first base. 2 level of mistakes, right? No, you're right. Okay, I thought so. I thought it was right. I'm talking more prospect-wise. Kingery, Pavetta, Moniak, Vinny. Oh, yeah. Well, that's been a problem with this franchise for decades. Decades, and decades. A long time. The group of fans that grew up when I grew up, we were spoiled with Scott. I just read Scott Kingery. With Jimmy Rollins, with Chase Utley, with Ryan Howard, with that core, we were spoiled with that. That's not Phillies baseball. There's a reason why they're a losing franchise. There's a reason why they have records when it comes to losing baseball games. They're a losing franchise more times than not. We are just accustomed because we grew up with 08, with 07, with 09, with 2010, with this core of we're going to go make a run to go win World Series. That's not standard, though. That's not the norm. Getting guys and prospects to develop the way that they did, that's the outlier. That's not the norm. So yeah, that's been a problem for this franchise for a long, 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 long damn time. Long damn time. I think Boston fans will get a real taste of Scott King or of why do I keep reading Scott Kingery first? Of Nick Pivetta. You know, like I don't think Nick Pivetta is. I think there's a. I think Boston. It's funny when I read, just Boston guys. A couple of my buddies I played hockey with. They live in Massachusetts. They're massholes, and everyone's like, "Ooh, Nick Pivetta, we fleeced you, Nick Pivetta." You're in the same stage as we were. All right, we've seen the Nick Pivetta stuff. We've seen the Nick Pivetta games. We've seen it all. We know what Nick Pivetta is. You're going to end up getting the same reaction eventually that we are. You're just in that honeymoon stage with Nick Pavetta's stuff. That's for damn sure. So we went through this before, but so far Nick Pivetta, the best he's done is 6 innings. Which is, I'm not telling you 6 innings is horrendous by any means. If you're a certain part of the line, look, we can't even get 4 innings out of Vince Velasquez, Matt Moore, and Chase Anderson. So, yeah, I mean, 6 innings is fine considering a role. But then again, if you're talking about a 5th role, or for sure, Nick Pivetta, if he ends up being a 5th guy, okay, well, guess what? Your expectations for him was way more than a 5th guy. So if that's what satisfies you, well, then we're in a totally different conversation and there's different dialogue to be had. But he had 5 innings. His first outing, April 5th, he walked 4. No earned runs, though. So 5 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, walked 4. Second outing, 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, allowed 1 home run. So allowed 4 earned runs in 6 innings. The next outing, 3 2/3, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, 4 hits allowed. And his last outing against the Seattle Mariners, 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 3 walks. So a lot of walks involved here. He's got 8, 11, 14 walks so far. It tells me. It literally counts them all up. And here I am trying to do the math in my head. 14 walks to his 18 strikeouts, allowed one home run to this point. I don't know. To me, that's on paper, at least. I know that's a lot different than watching how it plays out. And I've only caught a few Red Sox games to this point. But let's not go overboard here on what Nick Pivetta really is. Nick Pivetta is going to outduel DeGrom tomorrow. Dude, Jacob DeGrom is ridiculous. And he's doing it from both sides of the plate as well. That's what makes it even crazier. Let's look up his hitting stats to this point because it's actually wild what my man is doing. Let's go to hitting. My man is hitting 545. He's hitting 545. Obviously, that's not something he's going to keep up forever, but in 11 at-bats, he's got 6 hits. It's absolutely crazy. It's crazy. Oh, we got a $3 donation coming in from Max Coffee. Do I think Odubel can turn things around? Well, he only has 1 game under his belt so far, so do I expect this to be Odubel Herrera? Here's the thing. What we've seen out of Odubel Herrera, even when he was an all-star, is what you should expect from Odubel Herrera now. And I'm not saying you should expect him to be an all-star after missing that much time. What I'm saying is he's going to give you some really great stretches and he's going to give you some really ugly ones. He's going to look overmatched where his dreadlocks and he's striking out and his dreadlocks go crazy. His helmet flies off. And then he's going to have a bunch of pimped home runs within 1 month. So that's what I expect out of Odubel Herrera. I just don't know when that streak is going to come. And I guess I'm not shocked that the first game of the season for him is not when that comes. When there's not only drama surrounding his name and drama surrounding who he is, but there's also drama and pressure of the center field position. You got to take this. You have a very interesting, unique setup right now with center field. You better take advantage of this. You can't let this slip, knowing who you are, knowing your background. There's also just the go take the center field position added to the domestic violence stuff and everything. So it's a different spot. It's not just a random person coming up and trying to swing the bat to earn his job. There's so much more involved. But yeah, I mean, I expect him to be better than 0 for 3. Do I expect him to be better than 0 for 3? Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So Thank you so much for the $3, Max. Hoskins leads the MLB. I think he's tied. Is he tied or is he solo? We'll look it up. MLB league leaders, home runs 2021. I don't know why I think he's tied. No, he has the Oh wow, he's got the full lead. Maybe I heard the broadcast talk about it when he was tied when he hit his 7th. So then when he had his 8th, he ended up taking the lead. Nelson Cruz has complete runs batted in, hits, strikeouts, stolen bases. No, I won home runs, damn it. Yeah, all right. My man is leading it. He is the one, the only. There's a lot of guys with 7, though. Escobar, Nelson Cruz, JD Martinez, Castellanos, McMahon, Fernando Tatis Jr. Ever hear of this stud? Jesus Christ. My man knows how to hit the baseball hard. Ronald Acuna Jr. And Tatis, by the way, has 7 less games than everybody else played because I believe it was that oblique injury. Wasn't an oblique for him. Wilson Ramos has 6 dingers for Detroit. Freddie Freeman, Mike Trout has 6. Harper has 6. Javi Baez has 6. Chris Bryant has 6. Pujols is still doing it. He's at 5. But yeah, Rhys Hoskins, 8th. Do I think he hits 40? I mean, it's hard to say no at this point, right? The way that he's hitting the baseball right now, he's clearly on pace to do a lot of damage. So he set himself up where, if there is a little bit of a slump, if there is a little bit of a period of time where he looks overmatched again, or he's swinging through some pitches, or he's not seeing the ball well, or let's say he realizes he's in a funk, so he's focusing on walking a bit, and that impacts the home runs. He set himself up where there's a little bit of breathing room for that. But damn, he is killing it right now. You cannot make a mistake. Fernando Tatis is pretty good. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Amazing. It's just incredible to watch. This San Diego Padres team is so much fun, man. People tried saying that Lindor is better than Tatis. I never heard that specifically. I'm not going to discredit and say that that's not the case, but yeah. How about this? The fact that you traded James Shields, like that was the trade, if you remember. You made a trade for Fernando Tatis. That's what's wild. The White Sox signed Tatis Jr. as an international signing period, and Tatis ended up being traded for James Shields. James Shields. Jesus, man. Painful. Absolutely painful. We got $5 coming in from CJ. Brodes, what's your opinion on Rob Manfred? I think he is a cancer to the sport. Yeah, I mean, he's terrible. He's absolutely terrible. He doesn't understand it. He doesn't know. He's not up with the times, if you will. I don't think I'm not going to say reads the room, but your job is to make sure the players and the owners and you get a good mix of both and you make it work and all. And look, the owners pay his paycheck. There's a lot involved here with it. So it's just the way the league is set up. It's the way that the league has always been. And I hate that. When you look at the NBA, while the players might not love everything, for example, an all-star game that's played in a year of COVID, but you sit down and you talk and you have a conversation about it. You make sure everyone's on the same page, whether one part of it's not happy or not. Rob Manfred is just man, he's a mess. And he doesn't know what's good for baseball. He doesn't know how to help grow baseball. He's doing it at a snail's pace. I do think that they're doing things better than they did in the past, which is definitely pushing them forward, but they're doing it at too much of a slow rate. They can intensify it even more. I think Rob Manfred is too owner friendly with this owner-player debacle back and forth. Yeah, Rob Manfred's bad. Rob Manfred is bad. That's for sure. Thank you so much, CJ, for the $5. Lindor is low-key better than Fernando Tatis Jr. I think you're trolling, right? I think you're trolling. The way he covered his eye at Bauer, no doubt. And I love Bauer, too, for saying what he said, right? He's not wrong. What Trevor Bauer said, I think everybody has somewhat seen it at this point, but I'll just repeat it just for a little bit of, I don't know, just so you can kind of Listen, I wish I could play the audio, but I can't. I want to say something about that. He's talking about the pimping of the home runs, the intensity after you hit the home run. I think it's important. He did it in the first. I didn't see it. This is Fernando Tatis celebrating. He didn't in the first. I did it. He did it in the first. I didn't see it because I was paying attention to doing my job. And then he did it again when he homered off me later in the game. Their dugout was doing it, and I like it. I think the pitchers that have done that to them and react by throwing at people or getting upset and hitting people or whatever, I think it's pretty soft. If you give up a homer, a guy should celebrate. It's hard to hit in the big leagues. So I'm all for it. And I think that it's important that the game moves in that direction and we stop throwing at people because they celebrated having some success on the field. Another one of those moments today, I got Hosmer with the curveball in the dirt, and I hit him with the sword celebration. Then the next at-bat, he hit a curveball near my face, and he gave me a sword celebration. At first, we kind of laughed about it. We have a history together. We played against each other for many years. That's what it is to be a competitor. I'm going to go at you, and I'm going to get you sometimes, and you're going to get me sometimes. We can have fun and we can celebrate it while we're still competing at the highest level. I just thought that was an important note tonight. And it couldn't be any more wrong. What the hell? He couldn't be any more right. What the hell did I just say? I don't even know why that just came out of my mouth. I'm almost stunned. I honestly don't even know how that came out of my mouth. But he couldn't be any more right. He couldn't be any more right. That is perfect. That's what you need in baseball. For all these fools that think it's stupid, for all these fools that think it's dumb, and I want to throw at him for pimping me up, don't just show me up. It's like hockey, man. You score a big goal in the playoffs, what do? You fist pump, you go on one knee, you jump into the glass, you show emotion. When you have a monster dunk or a big three, what do? You throw the 3 bombs up, you celebrate, you go down to the floor, you jump up with your teammates on the bench. In football, you spike a football when you score a touchdown, right? Like, it's crazy. In every single sport. In tennis, which is a very respected sport, you get Serena Williams with a big ace. What does she do? The double fist pump scream. Yes! That's what you get. In all these sports, you could show emotion. Yet in baseball, you hit a nice home run and you do one of these, and you're just supposed to be professional. You're supposed to be all about business because that's disrespecting somebody. Shut up. Shut up. God damn. Shut up. It's crazy. He has more years. Are you still referencing Francisco Lindor compared to Fernando Tatis? What is your JC? What is your statement exactly? I need to know. I need some clarification on your statement about Fernando Tatis Jr. and Francisco Lindor. Bumgarner's punching the air right now. Yeah, I agree. It's your birthday. Happy birthday, George. Happy birthday, mighty George. I hope you have a phenomenal day. You have any plans for the day? Do you have any plans for the day? Yeah, the Bumgarner no-hitter thing. I saw some that think that he deserves to get a chance to, I don't know, just it needs to be in the record book somewhere. But how about everybody else to this point that have lost their no-hitter in 7? So if it's a 7-inning game and you get through it, you deserve to get a no-hitter. But if you get a no-hitter through 7 in a 9-inning game and you lose it in the 8th or the 9th, nobody cares about it, nobody talks about it, and you lose it. So where is it? Where does this fall, right? Like, how do you make this all work? I think that that's ridiculous. And if I'm Madison Bumgarner, quite frankly, I'm pissed off because I could have missed my opportunity to get that, right? I had that chance. They're very rare. You better get luck, you know what I mean? Not lucky, but they're very rare. That's for damn sure. It's not easy to be a player that is getting a no-hitter and putting yourself in that spot. So it was ironic hearing A-Rod stinks, man. A-Rod's bad. A-Rod is bad. He is one of the worst announcers I've ever heard, man. He's just a goofball, Like, I'm not going to lie. I liked him when he played. I was a fan. A-Royd, A-Rod, whatever you want to call him. I enjoyed watching the way that he swung the bat, the home runs, third base. I was a fan of his play, all right? He has become a clown when it comes to a personality. Like, he's not funny. He's very corny. His face is just botched, man, with all this plastic surgery. He's like this now, right? Like he's got all this work done to his face where he's like, I don't know, he looks like a fake human being. He doesn't even look like a real human being anymore. He's just not funny. He's not a funny dude. He's too corny. And I heard the argument that maybe MLB want like that's what they want out of the broadcast. So do you blame A-Rod if that's what he's being told to be? No, not necessarily. I think a lot of this does have to do with ESPN is looking for him to do something specifically with this role, and they're looking for that out of the broadcast. But it's a bad product. He's not with J Lo anymore, by the way. He's not with him anymore, he's not with her anymore. Yeah, how do you not know, man? This is a hot item. I mean, this is hot conversation. And that's a big storyline. And we're talking about shutting down ABC, CBS, putting out joint statements. I mean, this was no joke. This was a big move here in the world. A-Rod seems like someone I wouldn't want to be friends with. He's just corny, man. Just corny. How about when there was a hit and he just goes, Santa Maria? What? Who does that? Who screams Santa Maria when there's a big hit that happens in a game? Really? Like in what universe are you just screaming Santa Maria? Crazy. Predictions for the Stanley Cup final. I honestly don't even know. Since the Flyers have been on a bit of a downfall, I've obviously kept up with the NHL because I always do, and I always at least have one game on my 3 TV setup in the basement. But I have been a little just I think the Flyers put me through just hockey boredom, hockey fatigue that it's been a little bit slower than it was in the middle of the season. Maybe Vegas. Dude, how about Pittsburgh climbing the ranks? Maybe like Vegas, Washington. How about that? What if I gave you Vegas, Washington? How would you feel about that? How would you feel about Vegas, Washington? Oh, Toronto. I left my boys out in Toronto. That's not right. That's not right. I got to have Toronto in the mix. Toronto's got to be in there. I've always been there. I've always been there with Toronto. I got to stay true to myself. Do I watch WWE? No, I do not. I do not watch WWE. I am big into UFC, though, now. Huge UFC guy. If you want to talk about UFC 261, I'm all here for it. I've been watching a lot of not Fight Night, UFC Fight Pass. I went back and I got the UFC Fight Pass, and I've just been cruising through old fights. Last night, I'm in the middle of, and I paused it in the middle of the fight. So I'm going to go back or in the middle of the card, I should say. I have the main event left. I was dozing off last night at like 3:30 in the morning, but I'm currently on UFC 258, and it's Adesanya. I believe that was the Adesanya fight, or is it 256? 256. No, I forget which one it is. I do this every time, but regardless, or 250. No. It's in the 280s. It's in the 28 or the 290s, maybe. I don't know. I'm losing my damn mind. But yeah, I'm watching Adesanya right now fight. I just watched the greatest women's fight in the world, the one that went 5 rounds, and that one was just ridiculous. What's her name? The one that just lost. I'm still learning people because I am fairly new at UFC, but it's the woman who just got Thug Rose just knocked her out with that leg kick. It was that fight where the woman's face was busted and they were just throwing haymakers left and right in the pocket the whole time, just nonstop of 5 rounds, just going to town. I forget the woman's name because she's from China and I don't want to pronounce it wrong, to be honest with you. But yes, that's it. That's the one I watched. Wiley, is that how you pronounce her last name? Wiley, or no? Am I way off? Can I get a maybe like a spelling in the chat for me to pronounce it the right way? But yeah, that's the fight that I was watching last night. No, I'm off. Yeah, I thought so. That didn't sound right coming out of my mouth. I know it's Whaley. That's what it is. I was close. I said Whaley, close. Yeah, I'm still learning people, but damn, dude, that fight was amazing. And back when it happened, I wasn't a big UFC guy, so I saw the woman's face that she beat up, and I'm like, dude, this is gross. Look at her face. That's disgusting. And now I'm watching it with my mouth just wide open like, oh, this is amazing. This is incredible. I don't know if I necessarily have a favorite UFC fighter right now. I mean, Usman, maybe. Habib, I think Habib's dominance is special. I only caught like the last 3 fights of Habib, though. So maybe for me, like Usman right now, I love dominance. So I'm going to love someone that is pure dominant that you can't beat. You won't touch them. You will struggle. Everyone's trying to get to the top and get to them. So to me, I'm a dominance guy. I love dominance. That's why Serena Williams is one of my favorite athletes to ever live. LeBron James, one of my favorite athletes to ever live. So I'm going to go back and watch all these fights for sure. Right now, I'm just cruising through a couple, and I'm watching Adesanya right now, and I'm just going through some of the earlier ones of this past 2020 that I missed out on because I want to stay in the recent, and then I'll go back and kind of because that's how I want to learn, right? Like I want to learn about these fights. So when if Thug Rose gets a rematch with Whaley and they go back again, now I know more about her background. I've seen some of her older fights. The more you know about these fighters' history and their past and what they've done, it just adds to the intrigue. Like I went back and I watched Usman versus Covington. I went back and watched that fight the night of 261. I was so jacked up. I went back to watch that Covington fight. And now, when they fight again, when they fight their next time, I put it in perspective and know more about it. So there's something called UFC Fight Pass, which is like a monthly subscription, and you have access to every event, every UFC prelims, and I'm not a big prelim guy, to be honest with you. I'm not even a big UFC Fight Night card guy. It's really just the pay-per-view events that get me super, super pumped up. But yeah, there's like a subscription-based UFC Fight Night that you can watch all the old fights, all the old pay-per-view events and whatnot. Um, oh, you're going to the UFC event in Houston? That's unreal. Yeah, I think I'm going to start. Like, I think now that I'm about 10 or 11, or I forget exactly how many it is. Maybe I just made it more than what it was. But now that I'm starting to get UFC under my belt, I feel way more comfortable actually talking about it and having dialogue about it. So I think for some of these future pay-per-view events, I'm going to maybe start doing some post-show reactions just for the main card, talk about the main event, the co-main and whatnot, and go through the main card. But I do think that I'm going to start doing maybe some UFC post-game stuff, some post-fight stuff, some post-match stuff for some pay-per-view events. So I think maybe that's what maybe I'm going to start doing that. It has crossed my mind. But definitely preface it by saying, I'm no expert, but I think I'm learning the fight game. I'm learning the fight game more where I think I can have a good dialogue about it. I can talk about, well, what do I want to see next in this division? Before, I didn't know what was next. I didn't know who the next contender would be. I didn't know what contenders even fought recently. Now, I know about the divisions. I know who's in the divisions. I know all of the recent fights. I know the rankings. So that opens up a lot more dialogue, which, I'm proud of myself because there was a time where I just laughed at UFC and thought that I would never get into it. And just like some of these other sports, like I didn't love back in the day, I didn't love baseball the way that I did now, but I kind of just analyzed it and studied it. And now I've always played baseball, but loving it to the level that I love now, that was never a thing. It's just the way that I watched it, the way that I studied it for so many years. And then it kind of grew into this. And now with UFC, I kind of see it taken the same way. Will I have a video right after the draft? Sure. Yeah, of course. Of course, Mighty George. Of course. Did you expect anything else than a Philadelphia Eagle? I mean, come on. You get the Philadelphia Eagles taking their first round selection on Thursday night. Did you expect anything other than some conversation? What's on that night? Let's see what we have then. I think there's a Phillies afternoon game, which helps. That's in the afternoon. Yeah, the Phillies play at 1 o'clock that day. So the Phillies play at 1:15. You have the Flyers Devils at 7, but they're pretty much irrelevant to this point. And then you have the NFL draft. So, yeah, of course, we're going to have some NFL draft conversation that night for sure. The UFC will suck you in. Yeah, dude, Thug Rose, that was amazing, man. That was amazing. Draft predictions. I honestly don't know. I hate to say that because it's boring and it's not a fun thing to say, but I honestly have no clue what the Eagles are going to do. I really don't. I have no idea. I don't know if they're going to take Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Horn, any other cornerback available, if they're going to move up, if they're going to move down, if they're going to take quarterback. I don't know. I have no idea. Are they going to take a defensive lineman? Are they going to take an offensive lineman? I don't know. I have no feel. I have no pulse. I have no clue. Just listening to people talk about, some of the individuals they spoke to, it seems like wide receivers on the table. It seems like they're definitely looking in that area to get that explosive player, which, think about it. You draft J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, stinks. You draft a player like, come on, Jalen Reagor. And I'm not saying that he's not good, but what I'm saying is you're now in the first round again, taking another wide receiver. That's pretty brutal, It's definitely pretty brutal that you're using all these assets. You think about what this means for rebuilding the team if you hit on the year you took J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, then you don't take Jalen Reagor, then you don't take a wide receiver now, and now that's two positions that you fulfill in the last two drafts where you weren't thinking about. Oh, Jalen Reagor was in the second round, but you get my point. Or, no, sorry. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside was in the second round. Jalen Reagor was in the first round. But you get my point, how it all snowballs for sure. I don't know. And that's why I'm almost like really excited for it because there's so many directions that they can lean towards and there's so many different ways that they can go. So where are they going to go? What are they going to do? What is their next move? Tell me. What is your next move? Maybe I will record the actual reaction to the pick. Maybe we will do that. That's an interesting one. Well, you wouldn't have done that. See, I don't think that would have happened. I think that that's a little bit of a stretch. So if you pick DK, I don't think you're picking a wide receiver in the first round again that following season because you have that wide receiver. You have that piece. So I don't think you would have picked DK Metcalf and then picked Justin Jefferson the following year. You would have had DK Metcalf and then you would have went into another spot and you would have probably drafted another player. So, yeah, I don't think you would have done back-to-backs if that's the case. There was a mock when we went back to 22 and got an extra second. Yeah, the thing is with mock drafts, they're fun, and I'm not saying that they're not fun to do if that's something that you enjoy. I'm not a big mock draft guy, but I personally don't enjoy reading someone's eighth version of a mock draft. Mock draft 8.0, mock draft 9.7, mock draft 22.4, mock draft 22.8. Yeah, so what you're telling me is there's a lot of different scenarios for a lot of teams. Thanks. One has Waddle, one has Devontae Smith, one has this guy, one has that guy, one has them moving, one guy has them staying. So what you're telling me is they can do a lot of different things? I really needed your 30-second mock draft to tell me that. And maybe that's a little harsh. Maybe that's just the way that my brain works. Maybe it's just the way that I see things. But I do think to a degree it's like, all right, I get it, dude. There's a lot of different ways that you can go. Would you No one's trading for Andrew McCutchen with that contract, with that type of money this year, with this production. Would you trade for Andrew McCutchen? Seriously, with all due respect. Would you trade for Andrew McCutchen right now? Who in their right mind is trading for Andrew McCutchen? Come on. Why wouldn't you? Greg Ward would be your second receiver. Because that's just how it's just how it works. And you would have Dallas Goedert, Miles Sanders, DK Metcalf, Greg Ward's your slot receiver. So if you're thinking about your positions and where you are on the field, your slot receivers filled by Greg Ward. You have Miles Sanders that can use versatility. You have Dallas Goedert, and at that point, you had Zach Ertz as well, which, keep in mind, 12 personnel. You had Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson as well. So back then, when you're talking about selecting Jalen Reagor, you had all these other pieces. You had Alshon, you had Deshaun, you now have DK Metcalf, you have Dallas Goedert, you have Zach Ertz, you have these pieces. So why would you have other holes? You wouldn't just pick and bring in Justin Jefferson as well. It's just not how it works. Just not how it works. Banning shifts, I disagree completely. Why would you ban? You're doing something that works so well. You know what? Instead of having the other team adjust to it, we're just going to allow you to, or we're just going to force you to stop doing it because it works. It's strategy. You're taking strategy out of the game. So we have figured something out that stops you from succeeding. How about you counter? How about you go the other way? Now, there's pitchers that are going to throw inside on you to force you to pull, and you're naturally going to pull anyway. That's why, that they do this the way that they do. But to me, this works. Oh, hold on, this is working. That means if you throw over 100 that pitch won't count anymore because it works. If you throw over 100, we can't allow that because teams are struggling to hit over 100 miles per hour. So we need to remove that from the game because it works. That's silly to me. That's silly to me. So to me, I think that that's crazy to ban shifts. It works. Figure out a way, man. Figure out a way. But just because a team figured something out where these guys are constantly pulling the ball, let me just shift my guys over. Go the other way, man. Or figure it out from there. I agree with DH would make the game so much better. It works too well. Yeah, but that's a problem to me that because something works, we're like, let's change it. I feel like that's the problem with society. Let's make everything easier to a degree, right? Let's make it easier for the hitters. Let's make it easier for the hitters. No. It's a tough sport for sure. It's already a tough sport. You bat 300, you hit 3 out of 10 times, you're in the Hall of Fame. It's tough. I'm not saying it's not tough as it is, but I do think we're going to the extreme of, well, because something is beneficial and working, now let's change it. Now, why doesn't that logic apply to anything else then? Why doesn't that logic apply for all of it? You know? If that's the case, well, if you throw over 100, no. Can't happen. That's the different story. And that's what you're bringing up more. It's because it's not entertaining. But to a degree, it's how does this game work out and give me an advantage when it comes to playing? I'm looking for the advantage on the field. You're right. It doesn't make it as much fun. But I care about winning baseball games more than I care about fun. I think it's so funny, too, though, like people who hate the shift. There will be 10 plays or 12 plays in a row where the shift benefits you. And then there's that one play where a dribbler ends up going the other way because of the shift. And then you get all the guys that are, oh, see, this is dumb. This is stupid. This is moronic. Really? This is moronic. It worked 12 times. It didn't work once. Do the math. That benefits you. That puts you in a good spot. It's working more than it's not working. I love it. The one time it doesn't work. Well, come on. Come on. It's sort of like, and I love Gil to death. You know that. I worked with Gil at 97.3 for 2 years. He's an amazing dude, but he tweeted this out today, right? In 2013, in the 2013 draft, 3 straight Alabama players were selected at 9, 10, and 11. They all stunk, and one played for the Eagles. As you were, ... Yeah, how about all the other times? How about all the other Alabama players? I'm going to respond to him too, right? Like that's the same thing as the shift. Well, the shift didn't work that one time. Yeah, what about all the other times where it did work? So Gil saying in 2013, 3 straight Alabama players were selected. They all stunk, as you were. How about all the other ones, right? I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy to me that's a statement. As if one time that happens when all the other times it's the opposite. Not all. There's obviously Alabama players that aren't the best, but your percentage, if you want to play the percentage game, it's going to work out more times than it's not. At a significant rate, may I add. I think it's asinine to make that statement. What do you mean it's gotten out of control? It's always been this. You just don't like that it stops players from getting infield hits. You just don't think it's sexy with the game of baseball, which I'm not disagreeing. But you ban it because it works, I think is crazy. I think it's just strategy. Open Ice hits today. I think we're either recording tonight for tomorrow morning or we're recording tomorrow morning. So it's going to be out Wednesday is my point. I don't know why I made that more difficult than it needed to be. It's coming out Wednesday. So that's where we will have our Open Ice our Open Ice Hits podcast will be recorded either tonight and I'll drop it tomorrow morning or it'll be dropped tomorrow morning anyway. In terms of leading off with Brodes, we're trying some things out. So we're on pause with leading off with Brodes just because I'm trying to figure out some things with Brodes media and whatnot. So leading off with Brodes is on pause for right now. I'm just trying to figure out some details, figure out some execution side of things and whatnot. So we are there just to let you know. So I want to thank everybody for hanging out today with Coffee with Brodes. You know me. You know me. I love my coffee. I'm going to go have a post-show coffee. That's for damn sure. I guzzled this bad boy down pretty damn early. Thank you all so much for hanging out. You're the best. You're the best. Thank you. I'll catch you guys later. We have a Phillies game to react to tonight. That is on the table for sure. If you missed the post-game shows from yesterday, you know where to find them. You know where to find them in your sub box. Thank you all. Catch you later.